welcome to the Bond Room Unlocked, whereby we take an item from this 28-year-old collection and relate it to one of the Bond films that we know and love. But today we're going to sweep the memorabilia aside as I invite back 3 Bond fans from the community to review their resolutions from 2023. Did they achieve their goals? I'll also be reviewing a few of mine. Did I achieve them, or were they epic fails? Let's start with Neil. Over to you.
The big one, the big one that I had been able to do for years, for one reason or another, was an actual meet-up with other Bond fans. And I did that in August of last year when I met up with Vicky and a few other people from the group. And it was a lovely day, just strolling around London, taking in some of the Bond locations. It was good to see people in the flesh that you talk to every day but don't get to see. It was really nice, just a lovely, hassle-free, just Bond fans chatting about Bond in a relaxed way, and it was really, really nice, and I really enjoyed doing it. It was a lovely day, and I hope to do more of them. That was the big one, because it had become a bit of a joke in the Bond community that I wasn't a real person. Several people in this group and in other groups that don't believe I exist, and they got to meet me this year. And I got to meet them, which was the main thing. It's always nice to meet new people.
Yes, and I was one of those people. It was great meeting Neil. Meetups are fabulous, whether it be a small gathering or a more prestigious event like the ones put on by 007GB, of whom I'm a part of, on the tracks of 007, the Shaken Not Stirred group, or even cue the music. Keep an eye on the Bond notice board for the events that are coming this year. Now, Ian very much wanted to visit Neen Valley to take in the sights and sounds of Octopussy filming locations. Let's find out if he did it.
Hi everyone. My Bond resolution was to go to the Neen Valley Railway, which I'm pleased to say I achieved. I did this in the springtime and I stayed 2 nights in a hotel nearby, and then did a full day up and down the railway. And jumped off at various stations and had a look at the sights, and also did a little bit of driving around the area as well. I have to say it was probably the best location that I've been to be fair, because so much of it was used in Octopussy. There was a lot of content there, so there's a lot of things that you can go and see, and things that are still recognisable now. I jumped on the train at Overton, also known as Ferry Meadows, which is where they also filmed the scene in Goldeneye with the train thundering down the track. That was in Goldeneye heading towards Wansford Station, whereas in Octopussy they were going the other way. So the scene as they go through the German border, that was filmed at that station. They put some gates up which are no longer there now, but there are 2 pillars there where the gates were that you can still see. And obviously a lot of it was filmed at Wansford, in and out the tunnels, where the twins and Orlov exchanging the diamonds and so on. So it was really, really interesting to see. Also further down at Orton Mere as well, is where Bond goes through and he puts the car on the other side of the track and pulls up alongside the train. So that's a good location. Also back at Wansford, you can also see the sidings and the workshop areas still exist now, where Bond drives in the Mercedes and puts the car on 2 wheels. So there's definitely a lot to see, and it's well worth a visit.
I must admit I have never been to Neen Valley, and I would really love to experience it, as it services both the locations of Octopussy and one of my favourites, Goldeneye.
every vehicle you get into?
Standard operating procedure. Boys with toys.
Maybe I should take care of the transportation for our trip to Cuba.
Our trip?
Do you know how to disarm the weapon?
I suppose that depends on what kind of weapon you're talking about disarming.
So, tell me, are there any other standard operating procedures I should be aware of, Commander?
Thousands. But I only pay them lip service.
Properly watching the films was a big thing because, as I said last year, I'd only been really having them on in the background. So every time I've put a Bond film on, I've watched it properly. And you wouldn't believe how much you miss by not watching them properly. Especially the films I didn't particularly like, the films I want to appreciate more, like Thunderball, Casino Royale, Moonraker and Spectre. When you watch them properly and you step away from your dislike of them, watch them in a vacuum, you do notice more. And I must say, whether they've gone up in my list any higher than they already were, I don't know. Moonraker probably has gone up because there was just so much in that film that I'd missed or hadn't really took much notice of.
This is a crucial one for me. You need to watch these films properly from beginning to end because you do miss so much. I recently viewed my favourite Bond film on the big screen for the first time at the Prince Charles Theatre in London, Goldfinger, 60 years. And I found myself really thinking, and I know he's classed as the best Bond, how brilliant Sean was in the role. He could hold. He was cold. He was great in the fight scenes. He was believable. He looked amazing, and it really struck me how funny he was at times. People say that Roger Moore was one for the comedy, but Sean could hold his own in that field too.
Discipline 007. Discipline.
Hi Bond fans, so just carrying on from Nigel's 2023 New Year's resolution, which was to reevaluate Octopussy and to involve me more in the Bond community, which both were a success. So I've been to a lot of Bond events now with a lot of you guys, and we've both really enjoyed those. We've rewatched Octopussy and also been to the Neen Valley Railway event, which was really enjoyable. So carrying on from that, our 2024 New Year's resolution is to meet up at more Bond events, which I'm sure we will, and to celebrate the 2 anniversaries of Goldfinger and the Man with the Golden Gun. So I hope to see you all soon, and Happy New Year!
It's great Kristy had a year of firsts, and being part of this video is another first too. Now we've all got at home another half who probably isn't quite as enthusiastic about Bond as maybe we are. And, by getting them to attend events or watch films, it's just a little step in the right direction. Let's have a final thought from Neil.
Driving a Bond car, I unfortunately didn't get a chance to drive a big one, like a DB5 or an Esprit or a DB9 or what have you, but I did get to drive the exact same spec, colour and interior Alfa Romeo GTV6, which Roger drives in Octopussy. A friend of a friend of a friend who let me drive one for about half an hour or so. Unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to go crazy in it, but I have driven a quote-unquote proper Bond car this year. and hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll get to drive another one very, very soon.
One of the highlights of last year for me was the Bell Free event put on by the 007 GB fan club. It was just great, and it was actually my favourite event of the year. We had a selection of cars from the films on display. They weren't screen used, but they gave a sense of what the cars were like, and it was great just to chat to the owners, walk around, have photographs took with them, and you got a real sense of nostalgia, and it really added to the day. Yes, we had great signings and great photo opportunities, but this just added an extra element, and it was great to see so many Bond fans having real fun. So that's it for today. If you have enjoyed this episode, then please give it an MI6 stamp of approval and click on the notifications below. And why not subscribe to the channel, just so you don't miss out on any further missions. I review all the films and relate my merchandise to it. Thank you to Neil, Ian and Kristy for their valued support on doing this video and give us an insight into what they achieved and they didn't. I look forward to seeing you all again, and thank you for joining me here at the Bond Room Unlocked.